Hey there, I hope this message finds you in a moment of peace and reflection. It's been a while since we last spoke, and life has a way of weaving the unexpected into our days, doesn't it? Anyway, I've been thinking about something lately, a story, if you will, that I think you'll find both haunting and heartwarming. It begins with a quiet, bittersweet image and unfurls into a tapestry of emotions. Allow me to share it with you. The moonlight fell like a whisper onto the cobbled streets of the old city, its silvery glow illuminating the cracks and crevices that time had bestowed upon the stone. There was a hushed stillness in the air, one that seemed to hold its breath expectantly, waiting for something unseen yet deeply felt. Natalia stood beneath the shadow of an ancient archway, her silhouette framed by the ethereal luminescence. In her hands, now empty, she had once held the vibrant bloom of a rose. Now all that remained was a single fallen petal, its color deep and resonant, like the first hint of sunrise piercing the horizon. She clung to it as though it were her last tether to something beautiful, something fleeting. The petal was delicate and ephemeral, much like the love she had known and lost, a love that was both her solace and her sorrow. This small fragment of what was, this tender remnant, seemed to echo the echo of another time, another place where love was not so autumnal. Natalia leaned against the cool stone, closing her eyes as waves of memory lapped at the shores of her consciousness. There was a time when Kieran's voice was her guiding star on dark nights, when his laughter hung like a tapestry of constellations in her heart. Their lives had intertwined in such a way that each moment felt like a painting, vibrant and full of life. But as the seasons changed, so too did their story. The vibrant strokes of their beginning were overshadowed by muted hues of misunderstandings and unsaid words. It was in a cafe, tucked away from the world's clamor, that their paths first crossed. A little haven full of warm light and the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee. Natalia had been seated by the window, lost in her sketches, when Kieran entered, trailing the mystery of a past life in his wake. They spoke casually at first, the way strangers might swap bits of weather and news. But it was in those stolen glances and soft smiles that both found an unspoken connection, an invisible thread that wrapped around their souls. A simple question had unraveled the layers between them. "Do you believe in fate?" he had asked one rainy afternoon, his fingers tracing patterns of raindrops on the table. And in her uncertain nod, Kieran found a kindred spirit, someone who too wandered the labyrinth of what-ifs and might-have-beens. Days turned into nights, and their conversations grew deeper, exploring hidden corners of each other's thoughts and fears. Natalia learned of landscapes of loss upon which Kieran had walked, tales of love that once burned bright only to be extinguished by the winds of change. In him, she saw the echoes of her own scars, and they seemed to fit together perfectly, like jagged pieces made whole again. But love, much like the most fragile of blooms, cannot thrive solely on warmth and laughter. Unbeknownst to them both, a quieter shadow had taken root in the spaces between their words, a fear of vulnerability, the very surrender that love demands. As the tides shifted, so did the clarity of their affection. Clashes of emotion replaced understanding, and their once interwoven dreams began to unravel until they lay like threads scattered over the fabric of their love. The walls of silence became their unwelcomed companions, growing thicker with each unspoken truth and hidden fear. The last time she saw him, in the dim glow of twilight, they exchanged smiles that did not reach the heart, a silent acknowledgement of their shared brokenness. "We lost the stars," he whispered, his voice a threadbare lament, as he leaned in to place a kiss on her forehead, a gesture of farewell to something cherished, yet irreparably changed. It was in this moment, beneath the ancient arches and moonlit streets, that Natalia found herself once again, in an almost ritualistic returning to the place where it all began. As she opened her eyes, she watched the single petal drift from her grasp, caught in a soft breeze that carried it away, like the whispers of an unanswered prayer into the night. It was her pilgrimage to their memories, a journey to the sacred ruins of their love, where all that thrived was a haunting melancholy. Yet, amidst the phantoms and ashes, she found a quiet resolve. The rose petal that had been cradled so gently now lay resting upon the cobbles, an offering to the city that had been both their sanctuary and sepulchre. Natalia knew that love could be like a star. Even in its death, its light continues to reach out, touching everything in its path. She understood that though their love had faded, its echoes would remain forever etched within her, like a poignant melody that lingers long after the music has stopped. With a final sigh, she stepped away from the archway, but not before casting one last glance at the fallen petal, now part of the earth, returned to something larger than itself. It was a reminder that love, even when it slips away into the folds of memory, leaves behind the seeds of something new, an opportunity for growth, for rebirth, promising the world that we can love again, and perhaps love even more fiercely.